Well, good evening everyone. Thanks for joining me on my third fireside chat. Something you may notice about the fire is that it's not actually on. I've just put some candles in there to give it a kind of ambiance. But the reason I haven't lit the stove is because there's a back boiler in it, and you should not light a wood burning stove if you have a back boiler which isn't plumbed into a system if it's got no water in it, essentially. So that's why I haven't lit it today, and I won't light it until I've put in a system. So today I have a lovely warm shawl to keep me nice and warm. I think it looks quite like there's an actual fire in there. So tonight's fireside chat is to do about having courage. This came about in my previous fireside chat. It was talking about tiny house challenges, and one of the challenges there was just having the courage to start the tiny house. And after filming that video, I guess I kept on filming, and I was just rambling on about having courage, and I thought maybe that'd make a good fireside chat. I put a poll out on YouTube just after Christmas saying what should my next fireside chat be about, and it was tiny house challenges, Urbex or having courage. And I was really surprised by the fact that the tiny house challenges and having courage were both neck and neck for quite a while. Tonight I'll be talking about having courage. So one of my tiny house challenges I said was having the actual courage to start the tiny house, and that got me thinking about all the other times in my life that I've come across having to kind of, I guess, delve inside and kind of dredge up courage to go out and do something, and how hopefully maybe it will inspire others to step outside their comfort zone and seek something they've been wanting for a while. So I guess previous instances of times when I've, I guess, sought courage has been obviously building a tiny house. Another one was when I went to go hike the PCT in America. This was, I guess, a spontaneous decision, but took a while to kind of happen, just because when I got back to the UK after travelling, I applied for the visa. I had to wait 6 weeks until I could get an interview at the embassy. And just looking back on that journey and having the courage to just go out to the United States on my own and hike through the wilderness. Obviously you meet people as you go, but there were several times when I was on my own, days, just hiking solo. Oh, it's raining. Just hiking solo through the kind of Californian, Oregon, Washington wilderness, and then looking back on that, and it's kind of a bit surreal to think that I did that. So if anybody's debating a long distance through hike and you don't think you have it in you, I think you will surprise yourself. Another time I've had courage is when I moved to Japan. I just finished a seasonal job in the Yorkshire Dales, and that was coming to an end. So I decided, I love Japan, I've always been fascinated by the country, and I thought I would apply for a working holiday visa. So I applied for it, I was granted it, and off I went. So I landed in Japan just before Christmas. You can just completely reinvent yourself, be a completely new person if you wanted to. Kind of look back on that, and I'm so pleased that I did that, and I had the courage just to go out there to a country where I didn't speak the language particularly well at first, and just to be able to get a job where I could support myself and earn a living out there, which is quite cool. I'm quite proud of myself to look back on that I actually did that in Japan. Another instance of having courage is hitchhiking. So I started this on the PCT, where you'd hitchhike into town to get your resupply, get your food, then you hitchhike back onto the trail once you got your items. So I dabbled a bit on the PCT, and then in Japan I spent nearly 2 months hitchhiking around, which was a great experience. Maybe I should do a future talk on maybe my most fondest hitchhiking memories. I then went to New Zealand and hitchhiked all around, from the tip of the North Island down to the south. It took me 4 months, but just having the courage to stand out there with your thumb and kind of look at the oncoming drivers and hoping they will pick you up. But also I think as well with hitchhiking, also having the courage to say no to a lift. Like if your kind of gut instinct tells you there's something not quite right about this hitchhike, then having the courage to say like, no thank you, I'll wait for the next ride. So I think that's like kind of like an important aspect. Thankfully I never had any bad experiences hitchhiking. Had some strange ones, but I never said no to a hitchhike. But I think having that kind of mental readiness to decline one is kind of important, and if you do consider hitchhiking, being kind of ready to say no. And I guess being able to say no in life is a very important lesson as well. Another instance of having the courage is Urbex related. When I was younger, I still do have an interest in urban exploration, which is kind of fascination of like abandoned buildings, industrial site. It covers a whole range of categories of, and this kind of expands into, I guess, roof-topping, going on cranes, bridges, gas holders, and just having the courage to go and do that. Obviously with friends, but also there's been times when I would go out in an Urbex on my own. But just having the courage to just go out and climb a gas holder and things like that. So that's kind of like a different type of courage, I guess. And I guess for me, a more recent form of courage is developing my YouTube channel, because it is quite a big thing to put yourself out there into the big wide world, and I guess for me to put my creations online, this tiny house, show that I'm learning, and obviously I get things wrong, and I do always try and show the kind of rough and smooth of building a tiny house, the trial and error side of it, things that I get wrong. So I do try and like to be honest, definitely, about what it's like to build a tiny house from having no experience at all. Also, whilst on that tiny house YouTube journey, I think something for me that I've had courage about is, I guess, asking for help, because I do like to be, I guess, independent, and it can be sometimes difficult to reach out and ask someone for help or guidance on a project you're working on, who obviously have more knowledge than you and more experience, and just saying, I'm looking at my 240 volt screen, I just run a query by you. Just having the courage to ask those questions. So for me, that and finding the courage to go out there and seek, I guess, help is a form of courage. There's been times when I've been building it and things have gone wrong, and you doubt yourself and you can think, what am I doing? You know, I shouldn't be building this tiny house, and I guess a sense of imposter syndrome sinks in. But in contrast to that, there are many times when I've completed one aspect of the tiny house and been very proud of what I've accomplished. Even though it's taken me 2 years to get to this point, I'm getting there slowly. But I would add that the kind of positive moments easily outweigh the more pessimistic moments, so that's a good thing. And from sharing the journey online, I've met a lot of lovely people. You all leave such lovely comments in the comments below. Social media is not always the best place for positivity, but so far everyone has been really nice, so I thank you for watching me on this tiny house journey. So I hope you enjoyed this video. I guess I'll end it by asking you a question, and when have you felt the need to invoke your own kind of courage? When have you stepped outside your comfort zone and reaped benefits of doing so? And I hope you enjoyed this video, and I guess I'll end it here. So good evening, or good morning, or good night, or good day, wherever you're watching this from, and take care, and I'll see you in the next video.